The following days fell into a routine. Ryan would escort the twins to diplomatic meetings, stand guard during their meals, and accompany them on tours of the outpost. He learned that despite their identical appearance, the sisters had distinct personalities. Illyria was analytical and reserved, studying human behavior with scientific interest, while Nyxara was curious and mischievous, often asking Ryan personal questions about his life and emotions. During a tour of the science lab, Ryan watched as the twins communicated with the station's computers without touching any controls. The scientists present tried to hide their excitement and fear, as screens filled with data at impossible speeds. "What exactly are the negotiations about?" Ryan asked during a quiet moment as they walked through the hydroponics garden. The lush green plants provided a stark contrast to the sterile metal corridors of the rest of the outpost. Illyria touched a leaf, watching it curl slightly at her contact. "Resources primarily," she said. "Your species has discovered methods of cultivation we find valuable. Our world has limited arable land. And what do you offer in return?" Ryan asked, then quickly added, "If I may ask, technology." Nyxara said. Her silver eyes shifted to a deeper, metallic tone when she spoke about serious matters. Ryan had noticed knowledge. "Our species has traveled the stars for millennia, while yours has barely left your home system." Ryan nodded, understanding the implication. Humanity was the junior partner in this relationship, desperate for the advanced technology the Zeraxi could provide. The twins continued examining the plants, occasionally taking samples with small devices they carried. Ryan noticed how careful they were handling earth plants, treating them as precious artifacts. Later in the mess hall, Ryan sat across from the twins, watching with fascination as they consumed their specially prepared meals. The Zeraxi apparently required different nutrients and consumed them in liquid, formed through small openings at their wrists. The process was elegant in its own alien way. "How long have you served as a soldier?" Nyxara asked between sips of her iridescent meal. 7 years, Ryan replied. "Earth years, that is. I joined the military after university." "What did you study?" Illyria asked. "History and xenolinguistics," Ryan said. "Then when first contact happened, I transferred to the diplomatic security program." He smiled slightly. "I never thought I'd actually meet aliens, just study protocols for dealing with them." "You are not what we expected," Nyxara said, exchanging a look with her sister. "What did you expect?" Ryan asked. "Someone more fearful?" Illyria replied. "Many humans react to difference with suspicion. You observe. You ask questions. You adapt. It is an admirable trait," Nyxara added. Ryan felt an unexpected pride at their words. Though he served as their guard, he realized the twins were evaluating humanity through him. His behavior represented his entire species, a responsibility he hadn't fully appreciated until now. On the 4th day, Ryan escorted the twins to the observation deck, a large room with panoramic windows facing the nearby nebula. The swirling gases glowed in vibrant blues and purples, creating a stunning cosmic display. The twins stood silent for several minutes, simply watching the celestial phenomenon. "Our homeworld orbits a similar formation," Illyria said finally. "We call it the Cradle of Stars. It is sacred to our people. It's beautiful." Ryan said. "I grew up in a big city. On Earth, we could barely see stars through the light pollution. I never saw anything like this until I joined the military." The twins exchanged another of their meaningful glances. "Would you show us your world?" Nyxara asked. Ryan looked confused. "I don't understand." Illyria gestured to her temple where the small silver device was attached. "Our technology allows us to share memories. If you consent, we could experience your memories of Earth." Ryan hesitated, unsure of the protocol for such a request. Captain Bennett had not provided guidelines for memory sharing. There was no precedent. "It would help our understanding of humans," Illyria added. "Our diplomatic mission includes cultural exchange." After a moment's consideration, Ryan nodded. "I guess that would be okay. How does it work?" Nyxara removed a small device from a pocket in her flowing garment. It resembled a silver disc, no larger than a coin. "This will create a temporary connection," she explained. "It will not harm you, and we will only access the memories you choose to share." Ryan took the device. It felt warm in his palm as if already active. Place it on your temple. Illyria instructed. Ryan did as directed, feeling a slight tingling sensation as the device adhered to his skin. Now think of your Earth memories, Nixara said. Your home. Ryan closed his eyes and thought of his childhood home, a small apartment overlooking a busy street. He remembered the sound of traffic, the smell of his mother's cooking, the feel of summer heat radiating from concrete. He thought of parks and schools, of oceans and mountains, everything that made Earth familiar and precious. As he focused on these memories, he felt a strange sensation, like a gentle current flowing from his mind. The twins' silver eyes glowed, brighter as they received the images Ryan was sharing. He could somehow sense their presence at the edges of his consciousness, not invasive but observant. After several minutes, the connection faded. Ryan removed the device, feeling slightly dizzy, but otherwise unharmed. The twins were silent, their expressions thoughtful. Your world is so dense with life, Illyria said finally. So much variety, so much noise and movement. Our homeworld is more sparse, more ordered. Do you miss it? Nixara asked. Ryan nodded sometimes. But there's something appealing about being out here too, seeing what's beyond our little corner of the galaxy. You have an explorer's spirit, Nixara said approvingly. Many of your kind do. It is why we believe an alliance with humans will benefit both our species. That evening, as Ryan stood guard outside their quarters, he reflected on the memory-sharing experience. It had been intimate in a way he hadn't expected. The feeling of connection lingered hours later, making him wonder what other abilities the Ziraxi possessed and what it would mean for humanity as the species grew closer. His thoughts were interrupted by the arrival of Mary Collins, another security officer. Her red hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail. Her expression serious. Captain wants to see you, she said. I'll take over here. Ryan found Captain Bennett in the security office, reviewing footage of the twins. The captain looked tired, dark circles under her eyes suggesting she hadn't slept well. Miller, she acknowledged as he entered. How is your assignment progressing? Well, Mom, Ryan replied. The dignitaries seem comfortable and have expressed interest in human culture. Bennett nodded. The negotiations are proceeding faster than expected. The Ziraxi representatives seem impressed with our agricultural methods. She paused, studying Ryan closely. Have you noticed anything unusual about the twins? Behavior that seems suspicious? No, Mom, Ryan said truthfully. They seem genuinely interested in cooperation. Bennett sighed. I've received reports from other personnel about the twins demonstrating unusual abilities, affecting electronic systems without contact. Possibly some form of telepathy. Intelligence is concerned. Ryan hesitated, uncertain how much to reveal. About the memory-sharing experience, I believe their abilities are part of their natural biology, Mom. Nothing threatening. Bennett didn't look convinced. Keep a close eye on them. Miller. Some on the Security Council believe the Ziraxi may have ulterior motives for this alliance. Their technology is centuries beyond ours. We need to ensure we're not being manipulated. Yes, Mom. Ryan said, though privately he found it hard to believe the twins harbored any malicious intent toward humanity. As he returned to his post, Ryan wondered what Captain Bennett wasn't telling him. There were clearly political dimensions to this diplomatic mission he wasn't privy to. What exactly were the Ziraxi offering in exchange for human agricultural methods? And why send the High Counselor's daughters as emissaries? The twins were waiting when he returned, their silver eyes seeming to look through him. Your captain does not trust us? Illyria stated. Ryan didn't bother denying it. How did you know? Nixara smiled. Trust is earned, not given freely. We understand her caution. Your species has only recently joined the galactic community. Something about their calm acceptance made Ryan uneasy. Trust goes both ways, he said. What aren't you telling me about why you're here? The twins exchanged one of their meaningful looks. Tomorrow, Illyria said. We will show you tomorrow. The stars glittered against the endless void as Ryan Miller stared out the viewport of Outpost 7. A remote human military installation on the edge of known space. Ryan had been stationed here for 3 years. Now, his job simple guard the facility and report any unusual activity most days passed in boring routine. The same faces, the same tasks, the same view of distant stars. He often wondered why he had volunteered for this assignment so far from Earth and its comforts. The outpost housed 50 personnel, mostly military with a few civilian scientists and engineers. They were humanity's farthest permanent presence, a symbol of expansion and exploration. The nearest human colony was 3 weeks away by standard transport-making outpost. 7 effectively isolated from the rest of civilization, Ryan had grown used to the silence, the emptiness. The sense of being suspended between worlds today was different. A sleek silver ship approached the outpost, its hull reflecting the nearby sun in brilliant flashes. Ryan watched as it docked with practiced precision. This was the diplomatic vessel he had been told about, carrying important alien dignitaries from the Zeraxi system. The entire station had been preparing for their arrival. For weeks, cleaning unused quarters, upgrading security protocols, stocking special supplies. Ryan straightened his uniform and headed to the docking bay. His boots echoed on the metal floor as he hurried to his assigned position. Captain Laura Bennett, his superior officer, stood waiting, her expression stern as always. Her dark hair pulled back in a regulation bun, her uniform crisp and perfect. She was known for her strict adherence to protocol and her unwavering dedication to duty. Captain Bennett nodded as Ryan approached. She handed him a datapad with his new assignment. Your mission is to guard the twin daughters of the Zeraxi High Counselor. They will be staying for 3 cycles while negotiations continue. You are not to leave their side, for any reason. Their safety is your primary concern. Private Miller. Do you understand? Ryan accepted the datapad with a nod. He had never met a Zeraxi before. Their species had only made contact with humanity 5 years ago, and diplomatic relations were still new. Many humans had never even seen images of the mysterious aliens. He had heard stories, though. Tales of their remarkable abilities and strange customs. Some said they could read minds. Others claimed they could move objects with thought. Alone, Ryan had dismissed most of these as exaggerations. The airlock hissed open and 2 figures stepped through. Ryan felt his breath catch in his throat. The Zeraxi twins stood nearly 7 feet tall with slender builds. Their skin shimmered with an iridescent blue glow that pulsed gently like the bioluminescent creatures from Earth's deepest oceans. They had no hair instead. Delicate fringed crests ran from the top of their heads down their backs. Their eyes were large, almond-shaped, and completely silver with no visible pupils. Their faces were almost human in structure, but with higher cheekbones and pointed chins, giving them an ethereal appearance. Ryan had expected aliens, but he hadn't expected them to be so beautiful. The twins wore identical flowing garments that seemed to change color with their movements shimmering between deep blue and purple. The fabric, if it was fabric at all, moved like liquid around their tall frames. They wore no jewelry or adornments save for small silver devices attached to their temples, perhaps translators or communication devices. The first twin stepped forward. My name is Illyria, she said, her voice melodic with an echoing quality that seemed to resonate in Ryan's chest. This is my sister, Hexara. We appreciate your protection during our stay at this outpost, Captain. Bennett completed the introductions. Private Ryan Miller will be your personal guard during your visit to Outpost 7. He is one of our finest soldiers. You will be safe. In his care, he will escort you to all meetings, provide security during your leisure time, and ensure your quarters remain secure. Hexara tilted her head, studying Ryan with those unsettling silver eyes. Her lips curved in what might have been a smile, though Ryan found alien expressions difficult to read with certainty. We shall see, she said, her voice similar to her sister's, but with a lower pitch that seemed to vibrate the air around them. Ryan stood at attention as Captain Bennett continued explaining the security protocols and schedule for the diplomatic mission. The captain spoke with practiced efficiency, never revealing any personal reaction to the alien's presence. Despite his training, Ryan found it harder to maintain his professional demeanor. His eyes kept returning to the strange, beautiful visitors. The twins were given a suite in the diplomatic wing of the outpost, typically reserved for high-ranking human officials. Ryan stood outside their door as they settled in. His mind raced with questions about his new assignment. Captain Bennett had provided little information beyond the basics that the twins were important, that tensions were high, that he was not to leave them alone under any circumstance. She had not explained why the Zeraxi High Counselor would send his daughters on such a mission, or what the negotiations entailed. When the door slid open, Illyria emerged. She had changed from her formal attire into simpler clothing, though still clearly alien in design. The fabric still shimmered with each movement, but was more subdued in color. "We wish to see your training facilities, human," she said. "We are curious about how your species prepares for physical challenges." Ryan nodded and led her down the corridor. Nixara joined them moments later, moving with a fluid grace that made her seem to float rather than walk. Ryan noticed other personnel stopping to stare as they passed, some with expressions of wonder, others with barely concealed suspicion. Humans were still adjusting to the reality of intelligent alien life. The training room was empty at this hour, the equipment silent and waiting. Ryan stood awkwardly as the twins examined the various machines with curious eyes. They moved around the room, touching different surfaces, occasionally murmuring to each other in their own language, a series of musical tones and clicks that no human translator had fully mastered. "You train your body for combat," Nixara observed, running a long-fingered hand over a weight machine. "Yes," Ryan replied. "We maintain physical readiness for various scenarios. It helps us perform our duties effectively." "Interesting," Illyria said. "Our people evolved beyond physical combat centuries ago. We develop our minds instead." She raised her hand and one of the training drones activated, rising from its docking station. The drone hovered, then began to move in complex patterns without anyone touching the controls. Ryan looked for a hidden remote or control panel but saw nothing. Ryan tried to hide his surprise, but Nixara noticed. "You are curious about our abilities," she said. "It was not a question. We are telepathic to a degree." Illyria explained. "We can manipulate electronic systems with our minds. It is why our people are valued as diplomats, always know when someone is lying." Ryan felt a chill run down his spine. The twins watched him with identical expressions of amusement, their silver eyes reflecting the lights of the training room. "Do not worry, Ryan Miller," Nixara said. "We cannot read your thoughts. Humans have surprisingly resilient mental barriers, a fascinating evolutionary trait. Perhaps developed from your species' long history of internal conflicts." Illyria approached a combat simulation program and activated it with a gesture. The holographic display showed various tactical scenarios Ryan used for training. "Your species is surprisingly violent," she observed, "yet also capable of great compassion. It is a contradiction we find intriguing." Ryan considered how to respond. "We have a complex history," he said finally. "Sometimes violence is necessary for protection." "Protection." Nixara repeated the word as if testing it. "Like your duty to protect us." "Yes," Ryan said, though he wondered what these beings with their mental powers needed protection from. That night, as Ryan stood guard outside their quarters, he pondered the strange day and the even stranger assignment ahead. The silent corridor offered no answers, only the hum of the outposts, life support systems, and the distant sound of personnel going about their duties. As he settled into his watch, Ryan couldn't shake the feeling that there was far more to this diplomatic mission than he had been told. The bunker door sealed behind them with a reassuring hiss of hydraulics. Ryan helped Mary to a seat, her injury worse than it had initially appeared. The twins moved immediately to a computer terminal, their fingers working in perfect synchronization. "What are you doing?" Ryan asked as he applied a medkit to Mary's wound. "Accessing the outpost security systems," Illyria replied. "We can help coordinate the defense." Ryan watched as the main screen filled with multiple security feeds showing the battle raging. Throughout the station, the attackers numbered at least 30, maybe more, moving with tactical precision toward key areas. The outpost personnel were fighting back but were clearly outnumbered and caught by surprise. "Can you contact Captain Bennett?" Ryan asked. Nixara nodded, manipulating the communications array. "Communications are being jammed, but we can bypass the interference." After a moment, Captain Bennett's face appeared on screen. She looked harried, Her uniform singed her expression. Grim Miller. She acknowledged, "Are the diplomats secure?" "Yes, Mom." Ryan replied, "We're in Bunker 2 with Officer Collins. Good." Bennett said, "The attackers hit us from multiple entry points. They knew our security protocols. I've ordered all personnel to defensive positions, but we need to evacuate the diplomats. Their ship is our best option." Ryan looked at the twins. They nodded in agreement. "What's the situation by the docking bay?" he asked. Bennett frowned. "Heavy resistance. The attackers seem most concentrated there. They know that's our evacuation route. We need a diversion." Ryan said, thinking aloud. "If we can draw some of them away from the docking bay, we might create an opening." Bennett nodded. "You'll coordinate with the remaining security teams. We can launch a counterattack from the main corridor. That should pull some of their forces away from your position. Be ready to move on my signal." She looked directly at the twins. "We will not let this attack derail our alliance." The screen went dark as the communication ended. Ryan turned to Mary. "How are you feeling?" She grimaced but stood testing her weight. "I can manage. The metaphone is working." "Good," Ryan said, "because we're going to need every gun." The bunker had an emergency weapons locker. Ryan accessed it, distributing additional weapons and ammunition. The twins watched this preparation with interest. Their glow had strengthened somewhat in the safety of the bunker. Nixara approached Ryan as he checked his weapon. "Your willingness to risk yourself for us is noteworthy," she said. "Many would prioritize their own safety. It's my duty." Ryan replied simply. "Is it duty alone?" Illyria asked, "or something more?" Before Ryan could respond, the communication system activated again. Captain Bennett appeared, her expression now urgent. "The diversion is in place," she said. "Move now. You have approximately 5 minutes before they regroup." Ryan nodded, leading the group to the bunker exit. He checked the corridor, finding it temporarily clear. The path to the docking bay would take them through maintenance tunnels, less direct but hopefully less guarded. "Stay close," he instructed. "Keep communication to a minimum." They moved quickly through the narrow maintenance corridors, Ryan's weapon ready, Mary covering their rear. The twins moved with surprising agility despite their height, navigating the human-scaled passages without difficulty. Occasionally they would pause. Illyria would place her hand against a wall panel, and they would change direction. "How do you know where to go?" Ryan whispered after. "The third such change, we can sense the electrical systems," Nixara explained. "We can feel where the attackers are disrupting power." This alien ability proved invaluable as they navigated the maze of service tunnels, avoiding patrols and blocked passages. Ryan found himself increasingly impressed by the twins' capabilities. They were far more than simple diplomats. They emerged near the docking bay access corridor. Ryan signaled for them to wait while he scouted ahead. The sounds of fighting echoed from nearby, but the immediate area seemed clear. He gestured for the others to follow. They were halfway to the docking bay when a voice called out, "Hold it right there." Ryan turned to see a figure step from a side passage, a woman in the uniform of an outpost officer but with a Terra Prime insignia now visible on her collar. She held a pulse rifle aimed steadily at the group officer. Samantha Reese. Ryan recognized her from the security team. "You're with them. Not all of us want to be corrupted by alien influence," Reese replied, her voice cold. "Some of us still believe in humanity first." She shifted her aim to the twins. "Your kind isn't welcome here." Ryan raised his weapon, but Reese shook her head. "Don't be stupid, Miller. Reinforcements are on their way. You can't get them out." She gestured with her rifle. "I have orders to take the aliens alive. The rest of you are expendable." Mary moved slightly, positioning herself for a better angle. Her injury slowing her, but her eyes alert, were trying to save Earth, Ryan said. "The Vrex are coming." "Terra Prime knows this," Reese laughed. "Alien lies. They just want our resources, our planet. They manipulate us with false threats." "This isn't a debate," Ryan replied, feeling tension build. "We're leaving. Move aside." "Never." Reese aimed at Ryan, finger tightening on the trigger. What happened next occurred so quickly Ryan barely processed it. Illyria made a sharp gesture and the lights in the corridor surged blindingly bright. In the same instant, Nyxara extended her hand. Reese's weapon flew upward, her shot hitting the ceiling. Mary fired, hitting Reese in the leg. The traitor fell clutching her wound. "We must hurry," Illyria said. "That surge will attract attention." They reached the docking bay to find Captain Bennett and a small group of loyal security personnel engaged in a firefight with Terra Prime mercenaries. The sleek Zeraxi ship waited, engines already humming with power. Ryan led the twins toward it using storage containers as cover. Bennett spotted them and intensified her covering fire. "Go," she shouted over the comm. "Get them to the ship." Ryan and Mary returned fire, creating a path for the twins to reach their vessel. The boarding ramp lowered automatically as they approached. As the twins reached the ramp, Ryan felt something strike his shoulder. The impact spun him around, dropping him to one knee. A burning pain spread from the wound. A lucky shot from one of the mercenaries had found its mark. Nyxara turned, seeing him fall. She rushed back despite the danger, kneeling beside him. Her silver eyes examined his wound with concern. "It is severe," she said. "We must get you aboard." Ryan shook his head, barely able to speak through the pain. "Complete the mission. Get to safety." Illyria joined her sister. Together, they lifted Ryan with surprising strength for their slender frames. Half carrying him, they brought him aboard their ship, Mary covering their retreat. The interior of the Zeraxi vessel was unlike anything Ryan had seen before. The walls seemed alive, pulsing with the same bioluminescence as the twins' skin. Surfaces shifted and reformed as they moved deeper into the ship. They brought Ryan to what appeared to be a medical chamber, laying him on a platform that conformed to his body. The pain in his shoulder had become a dull throb, his vision blurring at the edges. Signs of shock he recognized distantly. "Stay with us, Ryan Miller," Nyxara said, her voice seeming to come from very far away. "We need you." Illyria placed her hands on a console. The ship responded immediately, pulling away from the outpost. The vessel moved with incredible speed. Ryan could feel the acceleration even through his pain. "We have cleared the outpost," Illyria reported. "Captain Bennett is requesting our status." Ryan tried to focus on her words. "Tell her mission accomplished. The twins are safe." Nyxara placed something on his wound. A cool sensation spread through his shoulder, gradually replacing the burning pain. "This will stabilize you," she explained. "But your injury requires more advanced treatment than this temporary measure." Ryan looked around, noticing they were alone. "Where is Mary?" "Coordinating with your captain," Illyria replied. "She is unharmed." "Good," Ryan murmured, feeling strength returning as whatever the twins had applied to his wound took effect. "What happens now?" "We rendezvous with the main Zeraxi fleet," Nyxara said. "They are waiting at the edge of your solar system. The alliance treaty must be formalized." And then Ryan asked. "We prepare," Illyria said simply. "The Vrex will not wait." Ryan tried to sit up, wincing as pain flared in his shoulder. The Zeraxi technology had stabilized his wound, but not healed it completely. "How bad is it?" he asked. "Really?" "The invasion?" Nyxara exchanged a look with her sister, then seemed to come to a decision. "They are stronger than we have admitted," she said, "their forces more numerous. They have conquered 12 systems in the past decade alone. Then why ally with us?" Ryan asked. "If we're so outmatched," Illyria approached, placing a hand near his uninjured shoulder, not quite touching. "Your species has something ours does not. Adaptability. Your minds are flexible, creative. Where we see patterns, you see possibilities. It makes you unpredictable. A valuable trait against an enemy." "Like the Vrex," Nyxara added. "They rely on calculation, on certainty. Humans introduce chaos into their equations." Ryan processed this information. "So this alliance, it isn't just about technology exchange or resources. It's about survival. For both our species." The twins nodded in unison. "Humanity will face this threat regardless of our help," Illyria said. "But together our chances improve significantly." Ryan leaned back, feeling the weight of this knowledge. The attack on the outpost was just the beginning. Terra, Prime and other groups like them would resist the alliance threatening humanity's best hope for survival against the coming invasion. I want to help, he said. Whatever I can do to make this alliance work. The twins' silver eyes seemed to glow brighter. At his words, that is precisely why we chose you, Ryan Miller, Nixara said. The fifth day began like the others. Ryan arrived at the twins' quarters at precisely 0700 hours to escort them to breakfast. The outpost was quieter than usual, with many personnel assigned to security duty around the main conference room where the final negotiations would take place. Ryan noticed increased security measures throughout the station, additional guards at key junctions, surveillance drones hovering silently in corners. Captain Bennett's caution was evident in every detail. Illyria greeted Ryan with unusual formality. Today is significant, she said. Her skin pulsed with a brighter blue glow than normal. The agreement between our peoples will be finalized. Ryan nodded, trying to match her serious tone. Is there anything special required of me today? Nixara emerged from the inner chamber, her silver eyes fixed on Ryan, with an intensity that made him uncomfortable. We require access to the communications array, she said. It is time to contact our father. The request was unexpected. Ryan hesitated. The communications array was a restricted area even for most outpost personnel. Allowing aliens access would violate security protocols. I would need to clear that with Captain Bennett, he said carefully. That will not be necessary. Illyria replied, we have already been granted authorization. She held out a data pad displaying an official clearance signed by the outpost's commander. Ryan examined the document. It appeared legitimate, though he wondered why Captain Bennett hadn't informed him of this change in protocol. He couldn't deny an order from the commander. Very well, he said, I will escort you there. The communications array was housed in a separate section of the outpost, a spherical structure extending from the main facility. The walk there was silent. Ryan noted how the twins seemed to communicate without words, their bodies moving in perfect synchronization. The few personnel they passed in the corridors gave them a wide berth, eyes averted. The communications officer, on duty, a nervous young woman named Susan, greeted them with obvious discomfort. She verified their clearance, then stepped aside, allowing the twins access to the main control panel. We require privacy for this transmission, Illyria stated. It contains sensitive diplomatic information. Susan looked to Ryan for guidance. He nodded reluctantly and she left the room, leaving Ryan alone with the twins. As soon as the door closed, the twins' behavior changed. Their formal demeanor fell away, replaced by focused urgency. They moved to the communication controls, their long fingers dancing across the interface with practiced ease. What are you doing? Ryan asked, his hand moving instinctively to his sidearm. This doesn't look like a standard communication protocol. It is not, Nixara confirmed without looking up. We are establishing a secure channel outside standard monitoring. Ryan drew his weapon. You need to stop and explain yourselves? Now. Illyria turned to face him, her expression calm despite the weapon pointed at her. We promise to show you why we are here. This is part of that explanation. Please trust us, Ryan Miller. There was something in her voice, a note of genuine plea that made Ryan hesitate. His finger remained on the trigger, but he didn't fire. Communication array hummed to life, a holographic display materializing in the center of the room. But instead of showing a Zeraxi face as Ryan expected, it displayed a star map. The twins manipulated the controls, zooming in on a specific region. This is your solar system, Illyria explained, highlighting Earth and its neighboring planets in this. She expanded the map to show a different star system as ours. Ryan watched as the map changed again, now showing a trajectory, a line moving from beyond both their systems toward human space. What am I looking at? He asked. Nixara enhanced the image, focusing on the trajectory terminus. An invasion force, she said simply. Our long-range sensors detected them 3 of your months ago. They will reach Earth, space within 1 year. Ryan stared at the projection, disbelief warring with the serious expressions on the twins' faces. Who they call themselves, the Vrex, Illyria said. They are conquerors. They move from system to system, stripping resources, enslaving populations, destroying resistance. They have been our enemies for generations. Why haven't you told our leaders? Ryan demanded. We have, Nixara said. Your government knows. This outpost does not. Ryan struggled to process this information. If true, it meant Captain Bennett and the outpost commander were keeping critical information from their own personnel. But why? The negotiations, Illyria continued, are not merely for agricultural methods. They are for a military alliance. Our technology, your resourcefulness. Together we stand a chance against the Vrex. Separately we will both fall. Ryan lowered his weapon slowly. Their explanation made a terrible kind of sense, explaining the urgency of the diplomatic mission and the secrecy surrounding it. Why tell me? He asked. Nixara approached him, her silver eyes somber. Because what comes next requires your understanding. Your species will soon face its greatest threat. We need humans like you who can bridge our differences. Before Ryan could respond, alarms blared. Throughout the outpost, red lights flashed in the corridors. Ryan immediately moved to position himself between the twins and the door, his weapon raised. What is happening? Illyria asked, her voice calm. Despite the chaos, stay here, Ryan ordered as he checked the security feed on his datapad. The outpost is under attack. Intruder alert sounded over the comm system. Armed hostiles have breached level 3. Ryan tried to contact Captain Bennett, but communications were jammed. He accessed the security feed, seeing armed figures moving through the corridors with military precision. They wore unmarked black armor, their faces hidden behind tactical masks. We need to move, he told the twins. This location isn't secure. The communications array was isolated and vulnerable with limited escape routes. Nixara placed a hand on his arm. There is something you should know first, she said. These attackers, they are not aliens. Ryan looked at her in confusion. What do you mean? Illyria joined her sister. They are human, Ryan Miller. From your own planet. There are those who do not want our alliance to succeed, who would rather face the Vrex alone than join with aliens. The revelation hit Ryan like a physical blow. Humans attacking a human outpost to prevent an alliance that might save Earth. It seemed incomprehensible. Yet he had heard rumors of extremist groups who opposed any cooperation with alien species. The lights flickered, then went out. Emergency lighting bathed the room in a dim red glow. Ryan could hear shouting in the distance and the distinctive sound of weapon fire. We should move to the secure bunker. He decided the twins would be safer there. As they hurried through the corridors, Ryan spotted Mary Collins rushing toward them. Blood streaked her face from a cut above her eye, her uniform torn at the shoulder. Hostiles are everywhere, she gasped. They're after the Zeraxi diplomats. Someone leaked their location. Ryan gripped his weapon tighter. They won't get to them. Stay with us, we need to reach. The bunker. Mary nodded and fell into step beside them. Together they guided the twins through the maze of corridors, avoiding the sounds of fighting. The outpost had become a battleground, personnel running for cover or forming defensive positions against the invaders. They encountered a group of outpost security fighting a rearguard action against the attackers. Ryan and Mary added their weapons to the defense, allowing a wounded guard to retreat. Who are they? Ryan asked the security leader. Between bursts of fire, don't know, came the reply. They breached the outer airlock with stolen codes. Professional operation. Well armed, a grenade landed nearby. Ryan shouted a warning, pushing the twins to cover as it detonated. The blast threw debris across the corridor, the shockwave knocking several defenders off their feet. We can't stay here, Mary shouted over the ringing in Ryan's ears. They're trying to box us in. Ryan helped Illyria to her feet, noting with concern that her skin glow had dimmed. Are you injured? He asked. No, she replied. But our energy diminishes under stress. We must reach safety soon. They were almost to the bunker when 3 armed figures appeared ahead, blocking their path. Their armor was unmarked, their faces hidden behind tactical masks. Ryan recognized their weapon configuration. Not standard military issue, but high-end mercenary gear. Get back, Ryan shouted, positioning himself in front of the twins. The attackers raised their weapons. Ryan fired first, hitting one in the shoulder. The attacker stumbled but didn't fall. Mary engaged the second while the third advanced. Ryan felt something strange, a pressure in his mind. The third attacker suddenly stopped mid-step, his weapon clattering to the floor. He clutched his head and screamed a horrible sound of pure agony. Then he collapsed. Ryan turned to see Nyxara with her hand extended, her silver eyes glowing with an intense light. Beside her, Illyria was doing the same to the second attacker, who also fell writhing. "In pain? You said you evolved beyond physical combat." Ryan gasped. "We did," Illyria replied calmly. "We never said we were defenseless." The twins advanced on the remaining attacker, who fired wildly in panic. His shots went wide as if an invisible force was pushing his aim off target. Nyxara made a sharp gesture, and the attacker's weapon flew from his hands. Illyria approached him slowly, her silver eyes now glowing so brightly they illuminated the dim corridor. "Who sent you?" she demanded. The attacker remained silent. Nyxara placed her hand near his temple, not touching but close enough that Ryan could see energy arcing between her fingers and the man's head. He screamed, then spoke in a rushed Terra Prime. He gasped, "The purists. They paid us to stop the Alliance." Illyria looked at Ryan. "Terra Prime?" she asked. The Zoraxi ship moved through space with impossible grace, its advanced engines allowing speeds no human vessel could match. Ryan watched through a viewing portal as stars streaked by. His shoulder had been properly treated in the ship's medical bay, leaving only a faint scar as evidence of his injury. He wore clothing provided by the twins, lightweight fabric that adjusted to his body temperature and moved like a second skin. Mary had remained behind with Captain Bennett. They would follow in a human transport ship bringing news of the attack to Earth authorities. The Zoraxi vessel would arrive days earlier, allowing the twins to prepare for the formal alliance ceremony. Nyxara found Ryan at the viewing portal, her reflection appearing beside his in the transparent surface. "Your thoughts are troubled," she observed. Ryan nodded. "It's a lot to process: the attack, the coming invasion, the alliance." He turned to face her. "Everything is happening so fast." Nyxara seemed to understand for us as, well, this expedition was not without risk. My father sent us believing humans would respond better to us than to older diplomats. Our youth suggests a future of cooperation between our species. "You mentioned you chose me," Ryan said. "What did you mean?" Illyria joined them, completing their familiar configuration. "Your assignment to us was not random," she explained. "We reviewed all security personnel files before our arrival. Your psychological profile suggested someone who could bridge understanding between our kinds. You selected me," Ryan said, surprised. "We requested you," Nyxara confirmed. "A soldier who studied history and languages, a protector with an inquiring mind. Such combinations are rare and valuable." Ryan absorbed this revelation, feeling both manipulated and strangely honored. They had seen something in him worth cultivating, something that might help both their species survive. The ship alerted them as they approached their destination. Ryan looked out to see a formation of Zoraxi vessels. The fleet was smaller than he expected, perhaps 24 ships of varying sizes. Their design was similar to the diplomatic vessel, elegant and seemingly delicate. Though Ryan suspected they held formidable power, the largest ship welcomed them into a docking bay much larger than the one at Outpost 7. As they disembarked, Ryan saw his first glimpse of Zoraxi society. Dozens of the tall, iridescent beings moved with purpose through the bay. Some resembled the twins, while others had different crest patterns, or skin tones ranging from deep blue to purple to a silvery white. All turned to observe the human in their midst, their silver eyes curious but not hostile. A distinguished Zoraxi approached his crest, more elaborate than others, his robes flowing with complex patterns of light. Ryan recognized the High Counselor from briefing materials. The twins moved forward, greeting their father with synchronized gestures that seemed part of a formal ritual. The High Counselor then turned to Ryan, his silver eyes intense. "Father, this is Ryan Miller," Illyria introduced. "He protected us during the attack, risking his life for our safety." Ryan stood at attention, unsure of the proper protocol. The High Counselor studied him for a long moment, then made a gesture that caused his robes to shimmer with increased brilliance. "You have our gratitude, Ryan Miller," the High Counselor said, his voice deeper and more resonant than the twins. "My daughters speak highly of your courage and understanding." "Thank you, Sir Ryan," replied. "I was doing my duty." The High Counselor made a sound that might have been laughter. "Duty is the beginning of wisdom, but not its end. Come. The human delegation will arrive soon. We must prepare for the ceremony." Ryan was given quarters aboard the Zeraxi flagship. The room adjusted to his preferences, the lighting dimming to human comfortable levels, the temperature moderating for his physiology. He spent the next day learning about Zeraxi culture from the twins preparing for his role. In the upcoming ceremony, as a witness to the attack, he would testify about Terra Prime's involvement, helping strengthen the case for Alliance on. The evening before the human delegation was due to arrive, the twins requested Ryan join them for a private meeting. When he arrived at their quarters, they were preparing for what appeared to be a ritual. A small glowing orb floated between them, pulsing with the same rhythm as the light beneath their skin. "You risked your life to protect us, Nixara. Said though you knew we had abilities beyond your own, it was my duty." Ryan replied, falling back on the simple explanation. Illyria stepped forward. "Duty alone does not explain your actions. We felt your determination, your resolve, your willingness to understand that which is different. We would like to offer you something in return. A gift from our people." Ryan hesitated, unsure what to expect. The twins seemed unusually solemn, the light patterns beneath their skin moving in complex synchronization. "What kind of gift?" The twins placed their hands on the glowing orb, which brightened intensely. "We can enhance your natural mental barriers," Nixara explained. "Give you a fraction of our ability. A connection that would bind us as allies. A bridge between our kinds. It is not offered lightly." Illyria added, "Only to those we trust completely. The process will create a permanent bond, allowing limited telepathic communication and some ability to interface with our technology." Ryan thought about the implications. What would his superiors say? What would it mean for humanity? He considered the coming threat, the Vrex invasion, and what this connection might mean for the Alliance. "I accept," he said finally. The twins smiled, identical expressions of approval. They gestured for him to place his hands on the orb. As he did, warmth flowed up his arms and into his mind. Images flooded his consciousness. Stars being born, civilizations rising and falling, and through it all the sense of connection to something larger than himself. He saw glimpses of the Zeraxi homeworld. Crystalline cities rising from azure plains, felt the collective consciousness of their people, and understood suddenly why they valued mental development so highly. When it was over, Ryan felt different, sharper somehow, more aware. He could sense the twins at the edges of his consciousness, not their thoughts but their presence, a comforting awareness that he was not alone. "You are the first human to receive this gift," Illyria said. "We believe. Your species has great potential. The gift will grow stronger with time and practice." Ryan looked at his hands, half expecting them to glow like Zeraxi skin. They appeared unchanged, but he could feel the difference. The new awareness humming just below the surface of his consciousness. "What happens now?" he asked. Nixara smiled. "You will serve as liaison between our peoples, the first of many, we hope. Your unique perspective will help guide the Alliance." The human delegation arrived the next day, led by Admiral Grace Chen, Earth's highest-ranking military officer. Ryan stood with the twins as formal introductions were made. The Admiral seemed surprised to find a human soldier so integrated with the Zeraxi leadership. "Private Miller," the Admiral said, eyeing his Zeraxi clothing. "Captain Bennett spoke highly of your actions during the attack." "Thank you, Mom," Ryan replied. "I was just doing my job." The Admiral studied him carefully. "Something tells me there's more to it than that." The peace talks concluded successfully 2 days later. The formal alliance established joint defense protocols, technology exchange programs, and cultural missions. Ryan watched as human and Zeraxi leaders signed the historic documents, feeling pride in his small role in making it possible. As preparations began for return to Earth, Ryan found himself standing with the twins in a quiet observation room. The three had grown close during their time together, their shared experiences and now their mental connection creating a bond that transcended species. What will you do now? Illyria asked, return to Earth. Ryan said, I need to brief our defense council on what I've learned. Help prepare for what's coming. Nixara nodded. Our paths will diverge temporarily. We must return to our homeworld to coordinate our forces. Will I see you again? Ryan asked, unable to help himself. Nixara smiled, that mysterious smile that had become familiar over their time together. The universe is vast, but paths that cross once often cross again, especially when connected as we now are. She touched her temple where her silver device matched the smaller one. Ryan now wore before boarding their separate ships. Illyria handed Ryan a small device. It looked like a crystal embedded in metal. If you ever wish to visit our world, this will guide you. She said we would welcome you as more than a guard as their ship departed. Ryan held the crystal, feeling it warm to his touch. Admiral Chen approached, watching the Zaraxi vessel disappear into the stars. You know, she said they specifically requested you. Not any guard, you. She studied his face. You're different now, aren't you? Changed by your time with them. Ryan nodded, still looking at the stars. Something passed between us. An understanding. The Admiral sighed. I hope it's worth it, Miller. Because the coming months will test us all. The Vrex aren't our only problem. Terra Prime has cells throughout Earth society. The attack on Outpost 7 was just the beginning. Ryan closed his hand around the crystal gift, feeling its energy pulse in rhythm with his heartbeat. I'm ready, Admiral. Whatever comes next, we face it together. Human and Zaraxi as their ship set course for Earth. Ryan stood at the viewport watching the stars. His mind reached out, feeling the distant presence of the twins, a reminder that he was now part of something larger than himself, larger than humanity alone. He was a bridge between worlds, the first of his kind, but hopefully not the last. The crystal pulsed in his hand like a heartbeat, a promise of adventures to come, a symbol of hope against the darkness approaching from beyond the stars.